teaser-all of episodes, South Park has perfectly portrayed a social problem, and they have been completely right. Like the trilogy of episodes when, in an exaggerated but very successful mix between Game of Thrones and Black Friday, they portrayed consumers as what they really look like when they're hunting for the best deals, all against all zombies. So, the security guards at the shopping center receive a very macabre talk about what Black Friday is like every year, and as expected, something doesn't seem to fit quite right in the security ranks.
I'm just trying to earn some extra holiday cash.
Randy Mash does it again. Every little opportunity he gets to do anything that isn't geology related, he's going to take it. The boys meet up at their big role-playing game where each one is the head of a GOT-style house, and Cartman owns a small stuffed dragon, and they decide to make a plan to be among the first 30 people to get an 80% discount on Black Friday to get a video game console. However, a small communication error ends up dissolving the alliance.
It's what this is all about, Craig. We're all trying to get Xbox Ones on Black Friday. I thought we were getting PlayStation 4s.
Uh-oh. Differences between console users are always something that can definitely damage relationships, and that's exactly what's happening.
Then I guess I'll see you on Black Friday. If I see you at the mall, Kyle, I will have to try to beat you inside.
Things are no better for the security guards who tell Randy about the horrors they have experienced on past Black Fridays.
I saw a woman pick up her daughter by the ankle and swing her into some old guy's head. Before I knew it, they were all around me, biting, clawing.
That's taking the discount seriously. However, what the guards don't imagine is that the enemy is within ranks, because Randy Marsh only does things with double intentions.
You're doing this to try and get to the front of the line on Black Friday, aren't you?
Every company should have a picture of Randy to ban him from entering. Nothing good ever comes from his participation. After pulling some strings to get more allies in favor of the Xbox, and dealing with the fact that Butters still can't understand that GOT is less about dragons and more about nudity, the release of an Elmo doll sends buyers crazy.
Elmo!
Give me Elmo!
With the zombie shoppers already lining up, the mall security team shares painful anecdotes in the best night's watch style.
You remind me of my son. He died on Black Friday in '89. Guess I'm still trying to save him.
You can almost hear Randy's heart soften, and suddenly, it's less about being inside on Black Friday and more about the camaraderie of the guard.
No!
Black Friday begins to claim lives, and the first is Old Cap, who delegates to Randy the responsibility of protecting the mall, and of course, his patch.
You are in charge now. Take this. Don't let Black Friday be the end.
A sad ending, but no sadder than Kenny in her Lady McCormick guise, betraying Team Xbox, joining the enemy, and betraying Cartman.
All hail the princess!
Now, that's quite a plot twist, which kicks off the sequel to the episode, where we see the Xbox kids' army training. The real question is, how much will they accomplish with wooden swords? The fight over Xbox and PlayStations intensifies when it's no longer just about the kids from South Park playing an RPG, but about the kids from South Park playing an RPG, and the console companies step in.
Do you know what weakness is, Steve? Weakness is believing that competition is healthy. See, there was a time when Xboxes and PlayStations could both survive in this world, but that time's done.
Uh-oh, I don't think anyone wants to compare with Bill Gates himself. The only one who seems to benefit from this war are the TV guys, who always seem to get the most out of a consumer revolt and fights between big companies.
We understand that you've donated some guns to the kids as well.
Yes, but we are limiting it to 1 per Xbox follower because, of course, the key thing here on everyone's mind is safety.
Oh, sure. Of course you do. Meanwhile, Butters and Scott are sent to contact G.R.R. Martin to see if his knowledge of the GOT wars will help them win. But what actually happens is the harsh reality that all GOT fans have experienced. Endless waits, only sausages, and, well, of course, no dragons.
Yeah, they're on their way. They're still coming. So Samuel's wiener goes.
I totally understand that feeling, Scott. All of us who saw it on air know it. Finally, after almost seeing Scott say his last words, George decides to help them on their journey.
I'll make some calls. I know a way to make sure you're completely prepared for Black Friday.
It seems that everyone has their plans in place, but what no one expects is Sonny's next move to counter Bill Gates' media aggression.
Woo!
今かよ見て
Just like you heard, Sunny's big plan to win console games is to turn Kenny into a Japanese anime princess. Well, I guess it's better than giving guns to kids. Final denouement is drawing near. The mall guards are preparing to face the stampede of approaching zombie shoppers. G.R.R. Martin's is making everyone wait. Cartman has been lying to everyone in other people's buckets for 3 episodes, and Kenny's enjoying his princess transformation more than anyone would expect. Anyway, it all seems like a nice mix of disaster, and yet, Friday is coming.
No doubt Christmas is alive and well at the South Park Mall. Back to you, Tom.
The boys seem to want to make a deal between the two sides and finally decide on a PS4. And they see that the only way in is to rent Red Robin next to the mall and fake a wedding. And we all know what that means.
They're gonna betray you at the Red Robin wedding. He got the idea watching Game of Thrones.
Stan is the only one to find out about Cartman's true intentions, and Cartman does the only thing he does best, playing dirty, and accuses Stan to his mother so that she will punish him and not tell anyone. This is how the fake wedding continues on Black Friday, and finally, the terrifying day arrives.
Everyone a Black Friday toast? How awesome that we are all friends again. Our two houses brought together.
Cartman is the ideal character for Game of Thrones. He's treacherous, disloyal, hypocritical, and doesn't mind lying to achieve his goals. Give him the role already. But he's the one who ends up being betrayed by an already betrayed Kyle, who discovered what Cartman had done to Stan. In short, everyone betrays each other, and things end up being decided by a face-to-face confrontation with the owners of each company.
Because they want a war to promote their product. They don't give a crap what kind of friendships it costs.
Simultaneously, an angry mob descends on George R.R. Martin's and gives him what he deserves for making us wait so many years with no conclusion, although they only waited a few minutes. But you know what I mean. And they storm in madly to take all the Elmos they can get their hands on.
Grab it, Rebecca, grab it!
There's nothing the gods can do now, and Randy's most emotional moment with Stan so far comes when he finds out that Stan is in danger at the wedding he believes is between Beyonce and Tom Hanks.
What? Stan's at the Red Robin wedding too? Oh God, I really care about him!
This is how at the wedding, the Sunny President and Bill Gates start a battle to death, which ends up giving the boys the worst scene of all time, full of blood and a very, very angry Bill Gates, who ends up with the president of Sunny forever.
Over. Xbox wins.
Although it should be Team Xbox's moment of victory, they don't look happy at all, and even though they dragged out a fight for 3 episodes, everyone gets a reality check when they realize how dangerous Black Friday is, perfectly portraying the extremes that consumers will go to, the way brands make improvements and unfair competition, and above all, that on Black Friday there is only one winner.
There's been death, violence, horrible human behavior, and the big winner here, decidedly, is Channel 9 News.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Within the sarcasm and absurd moments of South Park, there is usually a small message for reflection, which usually portrays the social problems that are less pleasant to touch on in another context, as was the time of the COVID pandemic. What memories! The episode begins with a deserted South Park, free of people on the streets due to quarantine. However, those streets begin to fill up towards the plaza, where it seems there will be a big announcement. And well, I can't say I'm surprised to see Randy Marsh being the one responsible for giving it. Suddenly, this video is more about Randy than anything else.
We've shut down and people have lost their businesses, lost their livelihoods. I also own a small business. I sell weed. And I have to say, I'm actually doing pretty good. Amazing.
It makes sense. However, the ad doesn't stop there, and Randy takes advantage of advertising a new pandemic special promotion on the Tegrity farm. But Sharon doesn't agree with it.
People are hurting. People are dying, Randy. And all you can think about is making a special about it?
We all met both kinds of people during the pandemic. Those who didn't take it seriously like Randy, and those who took it too seriously like Sharon. Who can you blame? We all went kind of crazy after quarantine. However, there was another group of people who somehow enjoyed, let's say more than usual, those days in confinement. Who would have thought all Cartman ever needed was to be away from others? But that happiness doesn't last long, because he can no longer fool his teacher with his fake internet problems.
We're actually talking about school opening up again in a few days.
If a Cartman is dangerous to society, a Cartman forced to be in society is even more dangerous.
Get back, 6 feet, ma'am, 6 fucking feet.
At Integrity Farm, Randy continues to make money and really thinks that COVID is not as deadly as they say because, well, he's Randy Marsh. He is insensitive, and on top of that, he ends up being more involved than he thought.
Look, do you remember when we fucked that bat in Wuhan?
If there is one character who would definitely infect South Park with COVID due to responsibility, it would be Randy Marsh. His perversion and carelessness is undoubtedly his personal trademark. However, Randy begins to feel remorse, realizing that the pandemic from which he has made a fortune is also his responsibility.
You see, I lost my wife to the virus. My kids, I don't even know how to talk to them, you know. Just thank God for your pandemic special.
What a disaster. If only there had been a way to prevent the pandemic from happening. Wait, there was. But unfortunately, the choice was in Randy's hands. Applause. While the doctors try to find a cure, they discovered that the focus is no longer on a bat, but a pangolin, which Randy also has a relationship with from the time he traveled to China with Mickey. What didn't happen on that trip to China? Anyway, Mr. Mackey has a Zoom meeting with all the class representatives, and things are no better than when they were face-to-face meetings.
Okay, welcome parents to this all-school town meeting to talk about how we're going to get your kids back into the classroom.
And this is exactly when what has been repeated so many times in many Zoom meetings during the pandemic is happening.
Well, it's really not a mask if you wear it down around your chin. That's a chin diaper. There's no real proof that a mask even fucking does anything.
How many times have we not heard these same phrases? The war between those who wore face masks and those who wore chin straps was real. Finally, after silencing and giving the floor in turns, the meetings does not reach another point, but classes will start again and the children will have new and very particular teachers.
All right, children, welcome back to class. I'm your new teacher, Detective Harris, and this is our homeroom teacher's assistant, Officer Johnson.
Undoubtedly, many strange things happened during the pandemic, but at least we didn't have the police teaching classes, or so I think. However, Yates and his men have the least desire to educate.
I don't know if I can do this, Mitch. I fucking hate kids. I can't be a teacher.
Cartman can't stand being forced to return to school and starts a fight with Kyle, which ends up being resolved in the way that only police officers forced to be teachers can do.
Got him!
Social criticism galore. The school hides the truth and enforces a quarantine with the excuse that Tolkien exposed everyone to the virus and was taken to the hospital. And there is no mention of bullets, of course not.
So we will be keeping your kids here and the teachers will be staying with them.
A rather extreme reaction if we consider that, in reality, no one was exposed to any other virus than that of human stupidity. It is then that a school run by the police literally turns into a prison, which is how the quarantine was felt on many occasions.
All right, group 5, it's now mealtime. Come in, but keep your social distance. Yeah, that's good social distancing. Real good.
During lunch, Butters has a panic attack remembering that his parents had promised to take him to Build-A-Bear just before the quarantine started, and his poor innocent dreams were destroyed.
Never going to Build-A-Bear, am I? Oh, hey, teachers. Sorry. Wait, I'm sorry.
It seems that even suffering from not being able to build a bear is against the rules, and the rest of the kids start to get uncomfortable with this new way of living. On the other hand, finding the cure for COVID is interrupted by a very stupid Randy Marsh who steals the pangolin that supposedly has inside it the fluids that can save the world, some that are none other than his own.
Again, what really matters is that we decode the foreign DNA inside the pangolin. That would be the key to a vaccine, perhaps even a cure.
Well, that's not going to happen. The vaccine is delayed, and Randy gets a little gift from the only one who knows the truth.
Why did you send that to me?
Mickey shows himself to be the business mouse that he is and finds in Randy his chance to get a vaccine, but Father Marsh's absurd logic travels faster than the speed of light, and in some strange process of reflection, he finds that the solution to the end of the pandemic is to put his fluids in the special edition of his product, so that everyone is vaccinated without knowing it. But he decides to test it first on his own brother-in-law.
It's okay, just breathe. Breathe. It's okay, breathe.
With a family like that, who needs enemies? And without any expectations, the hospital reports that Jimbo is better and can go home. The problem is that Randy will probably die trying to end the pandemic.
Oh boy.
Now, the idea of leaving the pangolin with the scientists doesn't sound so bad, does it, Randy? At South Park Elementary School, aka prison, Stan is having a nervous breakdown that he tries to hide with an inconsistent concern for Butters.
I'm just really worried what all the stuff around COVID is doing to some kids. You know, not every kid is like us.
There's some kids who really can't take it anymore.
The typical excuse of, it's not me, this happens to a friend. Come on Stan, you don't always have to be the most mature, but his plan to contact Mr. Garrison in his 10th version of the President of the United States doesn't go so well, and he ends up revealing that, apparently, the only one who benefits from the pandemic are the government.
All I have to do now is sort of guide the avalanche in the right direction, and I'm fulfilling my promises to the American people.
I have a feeling he's not the only one who thought that during the pandemic, but the problems increase when the side effects of Randy's fluids begin to become noticeable, since now the new variant brings a distinctive symptom.
What thing?
In some strange way, this is contributing to some people stopping using their masks as chin straps and using them correctly. Genius Randy, out of all the bad things you've done, at one thing seems good. The boys, led by Stan, decide to skip school and just do normal kids thing to get back to what they consider normal. But Cartman has another normal in mind.
I'm talking about normal like 3 days ago when everything was awesome.
This difference does not divide them, and in the end, they all escape, causing the representatives to fight in the streets, divided between those who wear chin straps and those who hide their mustache, creating absolute chaos.
Yeah, we care way more about what's right than you do, bitch!
On the other hand, the police get permission from Major McDaniels to arm themselves with all the heavy artillery, which is a bit exaggerated for the search of just a few kids tired of quarantine.
You are violating a mandated safer inside order. Put down the snowball and get back to quarantine.
Apparently, the least of the threats at the moment is the one that is the main character, COVID. Finally, the kids manage to get to Build-A-Bear and decide to infiltrate after an employee closes the door because of someone infected with the mustache strain.
I don't care! I'm not following the rules anymore.
There's all of his marsh heritage. Unfortunately, his friends are right, and Stan fails to build a coherent bear without the help of the assistants, scaring everyone with the results.
It's okay, we can start over! We can start over, there's a do-over machine right over there, look!
For his part, Randy is forced by Sharon to look for his son, even though the only thing he was interested in was getting rid of the evidence in his pandemic special, but something makes him change his mind.
They got Applebee's too. Drive me back to the farm shed. I need to get some.
Not even the possible death of his son made him think on such a scale. Thanks Applebee's. That's how when the police have the boys surrounded at Build-A-Bear and their thirst for blood makes them act before their time, and when they have Kyle in their sights, a miracle happens.
Wait! Everyone just stop!
Despite a bad prognosis, the pangolin is still alive and represents the salvation of humanity, or perhaps the salvation of Eric Cartman's interests.
Oh no, you're not ending this pandemic! Hey, Cartman, no!
Cartman has his chance to end it all and continue to be quarantined for longer without having to go to school, but Stan's revelation softens his heart to the point that he doesn't even seem to like himself.
This hasn't been about Butters. I've been acting like this because I can't take these shutdowns anymore, and I'm scared what it's doing to me. I'm looking for who to blame.
We always knew it, Stan, that Butters always ends up being the scapegoat. Cartman is moved, proving that he's not the worst friend in the world, and takes the pangolin back to the scientists. But don't forget that the pandemic and social confinement not only benefits or fails to benefit the common man, but also those at the top. And that's how Mr. Garrison ends up setting the pangolin on fire, thus preventing the vaccine test from being obtained. And according to him, the pandemic would take care of the things he promised in his candidacy.
Don't forget to get out and vote, everybody! Big election coming up!
It is inevitable to accept that those who have the last word are even more selfish than Eric Cartman. Who would have thought?